Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Strictly Broken Brews. I'm your host Christian Javacha, and today we're gonna talk about BanG. I've got no second host with me today, mainly because nobody's actually interested in gangbang, I guess. Memes, whatever. But I can just work through this alone. This is a set that I'm also playing right now. And I've decided, since BanG is like the new booster, basically split into 5 decks, each for the 5 different bands. I'm doing like one good stuff deck, and then I made one deck each for Afterglow, Pastel Palettes, and Happy Hello World. The reason why I'm not doing Roselia is because, first of all, the deck kind of builds itself, and second of all, the deck is not exactly good. Like basically the only standout Roselia cards are both Yukina Climax combos, the one from the trial deck and the one from the booster. And I'm not doing Mono Poppin Party because who the fuck wants to play Mono Poppin Party? And the good stuff stack basically incorporates those two bands anyways, so I'll just start with that. And some people might have read like Mike Cheng's article on this deck. And since he basically covered the Yukina combo version, I decided to cover the Kazumi combo version. And the big draw to basically play this over the other deck, over the Yukina combo, is this card. Because this card is fucking broken. And you have like a big problem with the Yukina combo deck is that you have a hard time assembling multiples of the level 1 Yukinas until your climax combo turn, because you don't have Ricky, and you have to rely on like drop searchers and drop salvages to get like your second or maybe even third copy of your sack. Whereas this is just costless and fetches you. Basically, you can almost always try field to your climax combo with this for nothing, which is kind of absurd. What this does is come into play, it gives something 1k, and then if you have another Poppin Party character, it checks for the 5 names. Basically, you can ditch 2 and search out the 1-0 combo and the 1-0 event, which is basically Operation Tornado. So you mill 3 and then salvage a character with level X or less, where X is the number of music characters milled. And the climax combo just salvages the event on attack. So yeah, I'll just start with level 0 lineup. You play 4 of the busted promo because it's the reason to play the deck the way you do. It's fucking stupid. As far as beta slots go, I'm playing 3 of the runner because the runner checks for, like, the runner doesn't have Poppin Party trait, but since this checks for names, this is fine. And the brainstorm also checks for this at level 0 if you want to play this down at level 0. And then at level 1, it's very easy to like get the conditions, since basically your entire level 1 lineup is Poppin Party, yeah. So I'm playing 3 runner and 2 of the blue oversize. I'm playing some copies of the blue oversize because, as you can see, there's just not that much blue in the deck. It's mainly on level 3, and then like a bit at level 0. There's still the somewhat core of I'll link Mike Cheng's article in the description, and you might want to read that first, since that explains a lot of the ideas about the deck. It still has the core of the stock bomb that goes to stock when your opponent plays a climax, the 1-0 field swapper, and the level 1 bomb to make difficult fields for the opponent to interact with. One of the drop search, I like this one more than the drop salvager, especially because this deck has so much access to waiting room, like your brainstorm searches from waiting room, your Operation Tornado searches from waiting room. So I just prefer this one being a search. It also fixes for yellow, which you also don't have that much of. And this is a hand flick / quote unquote beater if you have the level 3 in hand, which is not like guaranteed at all because you ditch it from opening hand and stuff. Like, keeping level 3 in hand just for the resonance is really worth it. It's just more blue and the fine card in like mid game, and fine card early if you somehow do level 3 in hand. Another way to go about this would be to not play this and to play like the green one, the green hand fixer, and then play the instead of level 2 it gets big against level 3s, or instead of an interchange bomb, bottom deck bomb, you just play the green one, the interchange clock bomb, because the green one has pretty cool effects in that you get more free stock sometimes when you don't need the card, which is pretty cool. The issue with that is mainly because like if you include that, then another interesting way to abuse the fact that you're playing some green cards is to play the what's it called, the Eve Brainstorm. Because then the Eve Brainstorm sometimes brainstorms for 5 cards, theoretically 6 if you count like playing the hand fixer as like an extra card for the brainstorm. The issue with that in this version of the deck, in the Kazumi version, is that you need a Kazumi on field for the trigger of this. Which basically, if you run like the green package and Eve Brainstorm, this is basically a blank card at level 0. Since you need to fix blue otherwise, since you don't have this anymore, so you're probably running more copies of this and less of the runner. So basically, this only becomes live at level 1. It's also doable, but I'm more comfortable with this setup. But if you play the Yukino combo, I think like splashing green and doing the Eve Brainstorm is actually a pretty viable strategy. Yeah, that's the level 0 lineup. Level 1 lineup is yes, it's 2 of the Remy Chaser support. Basically, when you have an empty lane in the front row, you can, at the beginning of the opponent's attack phase, you can make one of your cards run in front of another character, which makes it difficult for the opponent to interact with, especially if you have like bombs, if you maybe have an empty slot. And if you have like the on climax placement goes with stock, it's easy for you to make it hard for the opponent to get reverses if they play a reverse combo, and it's easy for you to basically deny them crashing at later levels for your on reverse combo at level 3, and just gives you a lot of control over how the board fights essentially play out. You only need 2 copies because it's very easy to get. Yeah, 2 Suiciders, which I don't like Suiciders regularly, but in combination with this card, it allows you to set up some nice boards where the opponent doesn't really have good ways to attack into it. So I think in this case, even a vanilla level 1 bomb is like playable. This is just a climax combo. Climax combo itself isn't good, but since this card exists, the climax combo itself is good. Just 1 level 1 counter, you basically don't ever really counter with this. If you have the global out, this gets like to 7k, which is sometimes counterable, but usually you just don't need this. Since you also don't play for field at level 2, this is just sometimes you want it, but it's not hard to get and it's not a priority, so I'm just playing 1. And since I never fight for board, I'm also not playing a level 2 counter. But you could like swap this one for the refresh counter or something else since you're playing doors. Refresh counter and doors often work well together, but I basically didn't want to do that because I don't want to spend stock. I want to have all stock possible for my end game. And if I have to use the refresh counter to like pay out 2 doors I triggered or whatever, I'm spending so many resources that I then don't have at level 3 that it basically gets to the point where I don't think it's worth it very often. And you don't really have characters to protect anyways with the counter, so you just pay 3 to like shuffle your stuff back into your deck. Yeah. Yeah, the reason why you want to play an event package. The events are both fine. But the reason why you want to play an event package is basically Machine of Ice. Except you have to have an event and you have to rest 2 characters to give the effect. Which is kind of power creep, but this chooses your own character instead of your opponent, so it works around hexproof. Yeah. Which is basically the part where it's better than Machine of Ice. Which is actually pretty relevant at times. Then I'm playing this this 2-1 as my level 3 killer choice because it's gains his soul and it's also 13k on instead of 11.5, which the ones that gain a soul usually are, and at 13.5 with the global, this usually gets big enough. If you play like the promo or something, it gets like 14.5, which is pretty safe. Or if you have like Vivid Strike or Rezero or early plays in a meta that you absolutely need to deal with, that you need to permanently remove from the field, then you might want to play the anti-change bottom deck bomb, or if you splash green, anti-change clock bomb. You could also play the anti-change stock bomb actually, but I think the blue one, the bottom deck bomb, is the easiest on your color. And yeah, there's also the red anti-change. Actually, you have an anti-change bomb in every color. The red one has the best secondary effect, but since it can pump your other characters, which is good for your level 3 and reverse combo, but it doesn't like permanently remove stuff like Fuka or maybe Fault or are those the two big ones? Maybe I'm forgetting something, but basically it doesn't remove cards like that permanently. So you might want that or this. A lot of options for you to like adapt. You also don't need to play this at 2, especially in this deck. In the other deck, I would definitely play it at 2 in the Yukina combat deck, but this deck has enough like hand fixing and searching that you don't need to play this at 2. I'm still doing it just to be safe because I really want to see this card. Preferences can be like this can be like a counter or another play that deals with level 2s, or maybe another 0, another 1. It's kind of your choice. Yeah, level 3, you definitely want to play for Yukina because often you can either double combo, or it's your heal, or it sometimes resonances with stuff. It's just a good card. It's your best finisher. And then Musashi is your best secondary finisher in the second slot. The other card you could play as like auxiliary finisher is the Trial deck Kazumi, which also gives you trigger information. But I just think Musashi is like easier, since Musashi allows you to like swing into direct lanes for a bit more value if the opponent still manages to crash somewhere, or and also doesn't miss if you like reveal an event or a climax with the thing. Musashi just works pretty well with the Yukina, and I'm playing 3 because if you only get like 1 save reverse, you definitely want 2, and at 2 copies, you might lose 1. So I want to be able to easily get 2 of this if I have to. So I'm playing 3 instead of 2. And I'm playing 1 copy of the early play. You don't really want to early play with this deck, you just want to conserve resources until level 3 usually. But since this, like the commitment of playing this, like the early play condition is really easy, and the commitment of putting this into your deck is like not very high. And this allows you to like keep going if you maybe with your level 1 combo, or like if the game drags on a long time and you start getting low on hand size, this like helps you keep up. And then you're just running for the event that like combos with this stuff. And the event just basically makes your hand a lot better during a lot of stages of the game, and allows you to like mill through your deck pretty fast. Yeah. Basic idea is just to like try to maximize double Yukina combo whenever possible, and whenever that's not possible, to like ensure that you do 1 Yukina double Musashi, which is still like a pretty decent finish. Woo. Yes, this is pretty good deck. Somewhat well positioned. Unlike like the others are a bit weaker, but this works out pretty well. Okay, so Afterglow is next. I guess I have them ordered in like order of strength. Seems about right. Basically, what you need to know for this deck is that you want to maximize the count of alarms in your deck to like maximize your level 3 round finisher. So you don't really have a lot of leeway in like running other cards. See, that's why you're running high counts. Basically, most of the alarm cards, and then like dishes. Your brainstorm is already not alarm. Your level 1 combo is not alarm. and whatever other combo you play is also an alarm, be that the 2-2 back combo or the 3-2 you can combo. If you play 2-2 back, you're probably still splashing blue, and then you play the Arisa, Swimsuit Arisa from first set BanG because that's the best healer in the set. Because it's basically the only healer that actually does something else. It helps you close out the game. Yeah. Where did I want to go with this? I don't think the bar combo is good at all. Which is why I want another healer. The only thing the bar combo or rather the green 3-2 healer does, which is interesting or good for the deck, is that it doesn't heal off your alarm cards because you only heal in Anchor Step, so you still get your alarm effects. Which can be relevant, but usually it just isn't. You'd just rather have like Yukina as an extra finishing power or a better heal when you play the back combo. Because the reason to play the back combo would be not because the back combo itself is very good, but because your level 2 game is basically non-existent to bad, so you just do your level 1 combo and then you kind of just sandbag until level 3, which isn't exactly ideal. So the 2-2 combo would solve that problem. But this basically has a higher finishing potential end game, whatever. As for card choices, I think these two are better than a 4th Clock Bomb running these at 4. You just want 4 oversizes. And I think 3 Brainstorm is enough. Ratios are, I think, pretty good, but you can obviously switch them around to preferences. I don't think you can really run any other cards here, because this is like the best blue beater for splashing blue, and these are the best, if not the only alarm card at 0, and you need to maximize your alarm counts. And this is obviously the brainstorm for the deck. Yeah, level 1 combo gets extremely big. Like if you have one of the brainstorm out and the split 2k one, this is already 10k. If you have like one of the power alarms on clock, which is the Mocha or this one, get to like 12k, which is really huge. Like nothing counters over that. This is just a secondary beater because of this alarm. It's not exactly like an ideal card, but that's what you have to do to like maximize the run level 3, because the run level 3 is so powerful that you really want to maximize your alarm count. Yeah, the counter you rarely ever use this to counter. It's basically just like allows you to choose the alarm you want to choose, which is usually like either the blind stock one, the 2k1 one, or sometimes Ricky, and sometimes the salvage ditch. You basically never choose this or this. I mean, this is just the same one as this. 2k to beginning of climax phase. The important part is that for a lot of these alarm effects to trigger, you need to have 3 or 4 characters on field, so don't forget about that. Yeah, you run 4 of the interchange bomb because it's just the best alarm trigger. Like getting an extra stock per turn is just absurd. You run the counter also mainly for the alarm trigger. Getting like an extra soul, an extra power is pretty good. And this just the level X is mostly to support Yukina getting a reverse, which can sometimes be hard in this deck because like while this deck has burst power, that's insane. A lot of it is reliant on the brainstorm, but the brainstorm only gives power to Afterglow characters. So that's something you should be careful about. But the rest of the deck just works off music, like the hand filter works off music and gives power to music. What else is there? The Minami combo searches for music. Rest also, everything works for music. And this Ricky's for except for this, which Ricky's for Afterglow characters. So this is like a really good card early game because it's basically Ricky that doesn't even take up a slot in the field. And then late game, it's one of the best finishers they've printed in recent time, non-climax combo finishers they've printed in recent time. Because it's usually gonna burn for 2. which is kind of obscene for one stock. It obviously forces you to build your deck a certain way, but building your deck a certain way is worth it if that's your payoff, or that's how good your payoff is. Ultimately, this deck could be improved a lot with the trial deck, because what you really need is like a bridging level 2 play, which again can be solved if you play the 2-2 back combo and instead use the Swimsuit Arisa. But then you have like less finishing power. Yeah, it's kind of Afterglow. I'm trying not to make the videos too long, but I think I've already failed. Then Pastel Palettes. Pastel Palettes, I'm not running any new cards from the trial deck right now. I'll try to like say what I think you could run from the trial deck and how that would change the deck, because I think it definitely changes the deck. This is just one of the ways to build it. Yeah, deck is very flexible in a sense. Also not very good, but it's fun to play, and it's also very pretty. Yeah, basically one of the payoffs for going 4 color is the brainstorm, which brainstorms for 5 if you have 4 colors in field. One other payoff is the 1000 frontal assist, and the third payoff is basically the 107k if you have 4 or more colors on field. Oh, and the free fresh counter is also pretty good. And at level 3 this, but this the 1 stock heal, but you use this more rarely in this stack, I guess. So this doesn't come up as often. So going card by card, 5-card search brainstorm, pretty good already, and then it has a climax combo that I'm not playing in this deck, but that you might play in the deck if you include trial deck plus cards. I'll talk about that in a bit. These two are basically your engine cards, because these are your only green and yellow cards for most of the deck. So you need these two in your back row, like ASAP, and these are also your best 2 back row cards. Which is the reason why you're playing 3 of the Clock Searcher. I think the profile is not very good, but you kind of have to play it just based on the fact that you really need to have these 2 out. At latest by the time you hit level 1, or the deck just bricks and doesn't do anything. So this is just consistency for like getting your proper setup, which is really important for this deck. And the rest is just beater slots. An argument can be made for just running more of this, because you'd rather have a blue beater survive than a red beater survive, because the 107k is red. So you'd want to play more copies. Ideally you'd have 2 copies of this and then a blue beater that survived. If like your runner survives, it's more awkward, because then you need to play one of this and one of this to have a proper setup, and you run less copies of this, or you have to play one of this and one of this if it's really bad. Then you only have 1 real wall on the field. But the deck runs so little red that I want to have like extra red copies. Even if you can play this from hand with this, I like want to have some extra red, and the card is also really pretty. But you can run more of the blue card, because that's the better card to survive the battle step of the opponent to like lead into your level 1 turn. Yes, whether clock search is important, we already talked about. Also important to note, I guess, that this only searches for Pastel Palettes, so you can search like this or the level 3s. Yeah, level 1 lineup is 4 of the blue ones where it changes into this. Basically, you want to maximize your chance of like having 2 of these out. Because this is behind the green one, it's just an 8k wall straight up, which a lot of decks struggle to get over, and then you still have 2k backup, so you have like 10k, which is a pretty good number. A lot of decks cap out at 9k or 9.5, or have to like commit everything to 1 slot to get that 1 slot over, and then you beat the other slots. And then as auxiliary blue beaters, because this is like your main beater, you want an auxiliary blue beater, which is played Ellie from set 1, which I think is the best choice for this slot. If there's a better one, tell me in the comments. I'm not sure exactly, but I didn't see anything better. Yeah. Level 2 is pretty light. You just have the 2 free fresh backup. I like 2 free fresh backup over the 1 free fresh backup, 1 bottom deck backup, just because this just comes up more often, and at 2 stock, this is a pretty good deal. Like 3 stock, it's kind of expensive, but for 2 stock, this is actually a pretty powerful effect. Yeah, and you also, like, you want counters in this deck. So you just want multiples of the 2/1s, and they have powerful effects regardless. And then 1 copy of the 2/1 that gets big against level 3s. This is actually not as necessary since you get fairly big anyways on your own turn, but against some decks it's just useful. Again, you can theoretically replace this with an anti-change bomb, if you so desire. Probably the blue one in this case. And then we get, well, level 2 actually goes on with this, because your main level 2 play is the Arisa with the minus soul combo. And the reason why this works well in the deck is because you set up like red beaters, and then this makes your entire field bigger again. And basically what happens is that then at level 2 you have like 2 of this out and 1 of this, and your field is, depending on where, like baseline without the support, it's like 12-5, 12-5, 10. And then you have like a 1k support somewhere in there, which is really big baseline level. And if you do the climax combo, then these get 13-5 base, and then you get to apply an Act 2 Soul 2 times. It's just really powerful. Because like the color pairs work out well. It supports your general game plan, and it's just a good climax combo. Yeah. Good card. And basically, since you don't have a finisher, if you just play this, the reason why I'm not playing Wind combo in this specific deck is so that I can play the Musashi combo, so you can like go Pants combo into Musashi combo into then maybe kill them the next turn. And Stock Soul is also pretty good for the deck, but what you need to be careful about is that there's not a lot of yellow, like not at all. So you don't have a lot of yellow targets, and you need yellow in the clock to play it. So that's something that can mess you up sometimes. Also important to note this, the clock swap only works for Pastel Palettes characters, so you can only put this in clock and not the 3-2. So also be careful about that. Yeah, then you just play 2 of the healer, because you want healers. And it also like only costs 1 stock if you have a proper setup, which is really good. So the way you could change this, it's probably a better deck than this is, but I just didn't have time to like test it yet, and I don't have the Pastel Palettes trial deck cards yet. Just basically you drop the Musashi, and instead you play the trial deck Chisato, which also works well with like your level 3s, because it's also like a 1/5 global, so you just have power everywhere. And then it also has like the on reverse pay 1 ditch 1 burn, which kind of can replace this as a finisher. And no. Sorry, I lost the thing. Oh yeah, right. This doesn't work well in terms of colors, so you lose like your support, and you lose like you don't brainstorm for high counts, and you can't like play this for 1 stock because you already have yellow in your back row. The red one, like the red finisher, basically makes it so that you still have 4 colors, because you always want blue and red in your front row, because your back row is fixed at green and yellow. So the trial deck Chisato helps with that. And then you can just like run 2-3 of that and run more healers. And also run wind combo, but then if you run wind combo, you probably want to get some more yellow in somewhere here at level 0. Because for doing wind combo, you still need to have yellow in your clock, which can be difficult if your only yellow is 4 of the brainstorm. And you can still play some number of Musashi, obviously, for like extra finishing capabilities if you find slots. You don't need to play the climax combo with this. Whew. This deck is kind of reminiscent of like Triad Primus of old, basically a wall deck with a 5-card brainstorm. The cards look prettier though. Ah, holy shit. Okay, last deck. Happy Hello World. And I'm also splashing a color in this one. But we'll get to it. As you can see, the color splash is red, and I just used a runner for it because it's the best way to splash at 0 probably. You could also theoretically run the Brainstorm, since the deck doesn't have a Brainstorm, but I think like a beater is more important. And you don't really need a Brainstorm in a deck that has Azusa and Amagi. Yes. Here we already have like the next slots fixed out. Azusa is still broken. Magi is still a decent card, and this Samagi also has a pretty interesting and nice secondary effect in that if you trigger one of these two cards, basically one of your level 1 plays, you can just put it to hand instead. So it's like a pay 1+ for your level 1 cards that you want in your hand anyways. So that's pretty cool. This is to call a Jinsu, which searches your climax. It only works for yellow climaxes, which is why you only play it in this deck, but it's still worth playing. I only run 1 copy because like I think running 5 copies of your level 1 climax is enough, and I don't really use it often to search out the level 3 climax. But if you want to do that, it's probably easy enough to like grab another time. And yeah. I think 2 copies this just clogs you up too much. Cards you could cut for like running more copies of this in this deck is the Stock Bomb probably. The one Coco Researcher is just still a fine card, gains Stolen Center, and it basically makes it easier for you to get multiples of your level 1 combo, which you really want in this deck. Like just doing one of this is awful. And yeah, the Stock Bomb that goes stock when your opponent plays a climax. Like this is not a very important card for this particular deck. It's just like there because it's still a decent card. But this can be basically this is the one thing I'd cut for like making slots for other cards. Usually you'd cut this because a lot of people don't think this is a good card, but the way I play this deck, I think this card is kind of necessary and very good. Basically this is like coming to play top check, and then if you level if it's a music character, you can pay 1 and search for this card, which is a vanilla. So it's basically a pay 1+ a shitty card. And then the secondary effect, which is the important part. If you're level 1 or higher, you can put this to stock and then summon the vanilla from hand. Summoning the vanilla from hand doesn't actually happen like ever, unless you're up against like cards that can't be reversed by cost zeros. But you can use this to just put this into stock and then not summon anything, so you can convert hand to stock. And what this gets used for is at level 3, you use the Musashi combo to like hyper compress, and then the next turn you rebuild your stock with this to have enough stock to do two of the come into play burn, and this also checks your top for confirming the burn. So this just has really nice synergy. And like triple Musashi is not a good finisher, but if you go triple Musashi into survive another turn into like double burn 1 and then like 2-2-1 or 2-2-2, that's actually a pretty good 2-turn kill. So yeah, this is basically set up for your red splash finisher. Yes, we already talked about this. Climax combo. If your opponent cancels, you can salvage and you get to assign 2 of this trigger to like herself and another character. So what's somewhat nice about this is that you're playing 8 stock souls, so if you trigger a stock soul, which is usually somewhat feels bad, the opponent either takes 4 or you're usually salvaging 2. So you're like kind of happy either way. But yeah, this combo is pretty bad in like singles and gets a lot better in multiples. The 1/1, this is just a big 1/0 beater that can change into this, and this can change back into this to give you back the stock. But the reason you're playing this is, first of all, it can make your cards bigger to like fight over stuff at level 1, and second of all, it's your early play condition. You need like this on the field and the Amagi on the field to early summon this. But the reason why this is better than a lot of the 2/1 or like have a costed card and a non-costed card in field early play conditions is because you can just play this play your early play, and then change this back into this and get your stock back when you don't need the support anymore. It's also like pseudo one card compression if your marker throw refresh or something. Also flavor because she's inside the costume. Also best girl. One of the best girls. You play one stock bomb as your answer to level 2 plays. You can play. I don't think we have like a 2-1 that gets big against other cards, so this just happy yellow whirlwind works in the colors. Thing really special. You don't really need level 2 plays. The other level 2 play is your early play, which is a pretty easy condition, and it has like a dig X, where X the amount of characters, which can fetch your level 3 climax or just keeps you going. It's a fine early play with a fine condition. Yeah, and then your level 3 lineup is just your first turn finisher with the Musashi, and then your second turn finisher with the Kasumi, which is actually a really good card for a trial deck card. It's one of the better level 3s in the set. And one copy of the healer. I don't want to play a red heal. Well, you could play a red heal. It's just additional safety to like be able to actually get this. But like playing a red heal is fine here. The red heals just aren't really a lot better. You have like the early play heal and the fuel swapper, neither of which actually do anything in this deck. So playing this is fine, I think. So yeah, that's the red yellow Happy Yellow World deck, which is also still getting a trial deck that will probably make this deck better. It's probably pretty easy to make this deck better. Maybe then you don't need to splash red if you get like another option to have a second turn after your first turn of triple Musashi, because the opponent probably isn't dead after that. Okay. So yeah, this was BanG Dreams. Already went on way too long. Tried to like include something for everybody since this deck works in Rosalia and Poppin Party cards. And yeah, questions and comments below. And see you guys next week.